see me? I and I will never fight down anything created by the Most High. And you see marijuana, it was a plant created by God. Some say them love God, but them don't love marijuana. How could that be? Are you crazy? Are you crazy? Chuck, I'm floating high, can you see my eyes? I'm red, 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 red. Got from the cyanide, marijuana high in my head. Oh, me skunk herb, hit my brain nerve. I can't be misled. Out and purple haze, let the fire blaze with some lamps, bread. So if you feel a way about the herb, let it be positive all the time. If you feel a way about the herb, remember that it's creation divine. If you feel a way about the herb, let it be positive all the time. If you feel a way about the herb, homegrown weed is the best weed to find out. Check the benefits when you're using it. It's so deep.
What's up, podcast world? Welcome to episode number 3 of the iGrow Culture podcast. It's warm today in here.
Yeah, it was warm at work too.
Man, it's kind of nice. I think I like it because it's been cold, so I think I like it, but it's just different. Before we get started, this podcast is brought to you by naturesgreenremedies.com. Visit naturesgreenremedies.com for info on iRe Genetics, Mile High, La Plata Labs, Sin City, and Gage Green Genetics. Use coupon code IRE2014 for 10% off, and you'll always get free shipping at naturesgreenremedies.com. I've been playing some pretty cool intro and outro music. That's some of my favorite stuff. I got to give credit to that before we go any further. Episode number 1, my intro song was Task Rock, Task and Linus. Big shout out to Task. I respect you so much, bro. Thanks for all the stuff you do. Anyway, the song was D-Day. The outro song on episode 1 was Mystic Roots with DJ in a Dance. Shout out Coot and Catherine and the Mystic Roots crew. Friends of mine, great music. Episode number 2, I opened with Marlon Asher, Ganja Farmer, because they call me the Ganja Farmer. Why wouldn't I play that song? What the hell? Episode number 2, the outro song was Anthony B. Herb People. Love some dance hall reggae. You just heard Nyora with Positive Herb, and I got a cool outro song coming up that I will give credit on the next episode. Got to stay proper and give credit to the people that help us out. I got to give a big shout out to my buddy Wade Ridley. He made me a really stylish logo for the podcast. That microphone with the bud growing out of it there.
Yeah, that stuff's looking good.
That's Wade Ridley's designs. He's getting good at that. Thanks, brother. I appreciate it.
Well done, sir.
Another big, ridiculous shout out to my buddy Tony. Without Tony, this wouldn't even happen. Tony does my web stuff, and you're a boss at that shit, bro. He really helped me. Got a feed going. Got me up on iTunes really quickly. You're a pro, bro. Thank you. He makes my website look good. iRegeneticsColorado.com. Take a look there. And then, most importantly, thanks to the people that are following us. You've gotten 3 episodes in. You must like something and must be doing something right, and I do appreciate you for following. Thanks for hitting the subscribe button. That makes us feel good. I want to give a huge thanks again to Addison DeMora for his in-depth description of the testing.
I'm still talking about that, dude.
Oh,
that
dude, I'm
was
still
awesome
learning from that. I've gone back and played it multiple times just to, what the fuck did he say in that part? And go like try to take a note in my head to try to remember that. So big shout out, Addison. He did, gave us, check out episode 2 if you missed it. Gave us a nice long description and education on testing of cannabis and edibles. So, yeah, shout out to everyone that's gotten this far with us. We appreciate the support. Now, we're hanging out again. We got Kevin from Elevated Concentrations to my front.
What's up?
Over to my left, we got Milky Trichomes.
What's up, everybody?
It's White Mike.
White Mike.
Hey, I just learned that Colorado Springs has an MMED facility. So if you're trying to get badged in Colorado,
ooh, definitely,
that'll slow down the overflow because Denver was getting crowded.
Yeah, somebody at work was talking about that a couple days ago, so that is really cool.
Yeah, I learned something. If you try to open a Sweet Stone candy, the package with your teeth,
get scissors.
Get some scissors. Don't open that with your teeth.
I screwed up my jaw the other day with that one in your freaking car.
In my car?
After the comedy show.
Yeah.
Trying to get it open. The next day, my jaw was so sore. Those things are super child-proof. If your child can get scissors, they can get into that, but you shouldn't have your child get into the scissors either.
Yeah, I just tried to jack up my teeth trying to open it up. So I'm going to eat this while we're live eating, or not. We're not live. We're live here, but the show's not live. And while we are on the show, I'm going to eat a...
Yeah, we're alive, yeah.
We're mostly live. There's a little dab session.
Isn't live, but the rest of us are alive.
Don't
Oh,
talk
was I not
about
supposed
that
to
guy.
talk about him?
If you're going to do it closer to the microphone, just a little bit.
Why there's
All
a
right.
blank microphone?
Oh, God.
the empty mic.
It's April Fool's Day. We did not kill anybody. I'm eating
How'd you ruin it?
a Sweet Stone candy, cotton candy, gemstone. I'm going to throw it in my mouth. Well, it looks like I'm opening a condom, to tell you the truth. I opened one of these
Yeah,
at
he's
a...
still
Looks like you're
trying.
failing
I
to
know.
open
I
a
opened it.
condom.
I opened
There
one
it
at a
goes.
comedy show, and I'm pretty sure that at least one or two people had to think until I reached in and pulled out a candy. They had to think I was busting open a condom.
Dude, I'm pretty sure you're right. It's the exact
looks-
same size. It looks just like one. It's,
So I've done nothing but talk shit. I said the wrapper fucked up my teeth and looks like a condom. I just put this candy in my mouth. All of the shit talking is done. This is delicious. I haven't had the cotton candy flavor.
is the cotton candy good? That Dr. P was freaking awesome.
Dude, I could smell that.
Jesus.
We were in the car, and he busted open Dr. P, and I was like, what the I was eating some chips, and I was like, these chips have some weird chemical that are making me crave Dr. Pepper, like, so badly right now. And he started giggling. He's like, it could be by Dr. P Sweetstone. Possibly. This thing's tasty. Shout out to Claude. You guys don't pay me to say shout out to you. You just make great edibles, and so that gets me to say good work.
And you're super nice people, so
We're so lucky here.
Hope to
Yeah.
see you guys at the Cannabis Cup.
I'm sure we will.
Well, let's get down to business. Hey, somebody was responsible for keeping a pipe loaded. I don't know who I delegated.
Oh, I didn't know
such
it
a
was
job
not
to.
loaded.
Well,
It is in front of the weed is in front of me, so
it's
I will
stalled.
take that
It's stalled.
responsibility.
We don't-
Oh, I forget. You like empty halfway through.
Well, we're connoisseurs at this table, my friend.
It's still connoisseur level if there's still green weed
That's
to
okay.
be hit.
We're smoking on some sour diesel.
It wasn't quite as empty as Jeff.
It's delicious. We had some dabs. Kevin made some wax for me this time. Usually I get shatter, but he wanted to experiment and make some wax.
I haven't for a while, so I wanted to make sure that it was like riding a bike and I could still accomplish said task.
Dude, task accomplished. You did a well done job. I like it because I could pick it up and just drop a big fat glob on
Yeah.
the nail. Sorry, that was my Sweet Stone. You heard going.
For
It's not
those
good.
of us who are less versed in wax, dabs, etc., the difference, sirs.
Oh, the shatter you can drop it, but it's harder to handle. The shatter is a little stickier. It's still, if your fingers are warm, it'll melt and get sticky and stick to your fingers. The wax is it doesn't stick as much. Kevin, since this is a topic, teach us a little bit about the difference between shatter and wax.
They're essentially the same product.
Or butter or
they're
crumble.
essentially the same product, just different consistencies. And towards the end of the process, you do a slightly different technique with each one. It involves timing, temperatures, agitation, things like that, and you can achieve the different consistencies, which is essentially all shatter and wax are. They're just different consistencies of the same thing.
And a lot of people hate on wax. I tell everybody to stay on the mic. I'm over here bobbing back and forth like Stevie Wonder. I'm high, dude.
That'll happen.
Dab the fuck out, eating a Sweet Stone. It's a good night. It's a wonderful night hanging out with two of my favorite bros even.
The highest guy in the room.
A
is
lot of
working the
people
most
hate on
equipment.
shatter too. There's some people that are just real into the wax, and that's why I like a lot of the conversations that go on with us in the 710 community with the extract artists, especially is we're not sharing so much information with the public anymore. We're sharing it a lot with ourselves, and we're learning a lot more about what's better and what is actually going on with the product. So that's really nice to see how it continues to evolve and the knowledge continues to grow. So there is a lot of personal opinion on
Indeed.
whether wax or shatter is preferred. There's a lot of opinion and some verification of one being cleaner than the other. So I'll leave that up to everybody to go ahead and do some research and read it. Because
I'm going to kind of spill your beans. From
Definitely.
what I have read, from trusted sources, I have not studied this. I have read this on Facebook from people that I respect. The wax is usually cleaner. It comes back with less residual solvents in there.
yes, that's
Yes,
what I
you're
have
agreeing
read.
with me?
That's what I have read as well.
So the people that are hating the butters or the waxes, the butter, I'm going to say butter, I would consider butter goopier and stuff that we wouldn't dab. We wouldn't dab butter. If it's runny and dripping off your shit, I probably won't dab that.
Exactly.
Shatter,
I think,
sap, snap,
yeah.
I'll hit that all day long. Some good crumble. If I want to put a little bit of it, I'm going to heat the nail up, and before I inhale, you're not going to notice if you gave me the dab, but I'm going to give it a little sizzle test before I inhale. I'm a hippie. I know how to blow a didgeridoo, so I know how to make it look like I'm inhaling, and I'm not. And that smoke, I can get rid of that smoke if it sizzles or tastes like doo-doo, and I won't take your dab. But if it looks good, I'll hit some wax. Or the reason I like the difference is the shatter, I got to use the dabber. I need a little dab tool. It takes a little more work, a little more effort. Task Rock says the tip the dabber tends to chip the shatter in my eye. Ow. If you ever... The first time you buy shatter from a dispensary, you're going to take it home and you're going to get your little dab tool and you're going to stick it in that fucking shatter and you're going to break off a piece and it's going to fly across the room and you're never going to find it.
You're going to be pissed.
That's one dab for your dead homie.
You just have to get used to that. Yeah, that's the way of the world.
So if you haven't experienced that yet, use your thumb and just rub your thumb on there and heat that shit up a little bit till it comes pliable. You're going to have a big thumbprint. Pauly D will talk shit. Quit putting your fingerprints all over my damn shatter. But just get it in and heat it up a little bit. But I like the wax because I can grab however big of a piece I want and squish it together and make a nice little ball and then heat up my nail and just slam dunk it like I'm Michael Jordan on that motherfucker and get it nice. And the wax, the consistency makes it punch me harder on the hit. It makes it
seems like it does. It really does.
The shatter, I'll admit it, shatter is slightly smoother. Sap is really smooth. But I like that heavy, and it's not heavy like when you're smoking CO2 oil. I do not like. That's my personal preference. It always makes me feel like it's bubbly in my lungs. It's heavy. I'm drowning. I'm getting a weird flavor. But the wax gives me a pleasant punch. Like it's so like, remember when you're in high school and you take a big fucking bong hit and you'd be like, oh, I'm really. It gives me that again. Yeah. Maybe I need to reduce my dabbing since it's taking me a 1/4 gram dab of some good wax to get that punch to the face again.
Smoke some of your flowers for a little bit.
Things for the body.
Yeah, I need to take a nice whip. I'm going to, I didn't want to talk about this until I had it more planned out, but a friend of ours, a collective friend, I think we all three know him, he's a doctor, and I'm going to have him send me to a local drug testing facility. I'm going to wake up in the morning, I'm going to go to the doctor, and he's going to write me the recommendation to go, and somebody else is going to drive me. And on the way there, I'm going to take dabs, and I'm going to drive to a drug testing facility and dab the fuck out, like I normally would at a dab session, 6 or 7 fat dabs, and walk in there and let them take my blood and then measure my THC content. And then I'm going to go the whole day and not dab. Like after that session, I'll live the rest of the day without any dabs. And then I'm going to go in the morning and go in and have them take my THC. And then I'm going to go another day and then try to, or maybe a couple days later or something, just I'm going to have to challenge myself and not take dabs, which would be fucking cool. But I want to measure myself at 2 or 3 different points, urine and blood, and find out where I am right after I dab, where I am when I wake up in the morning. And maybe I should include one more. But there's so many that I'd like to do, but I have to pay for each test out of my pocket, and it's going to get a little crazy.
Right.
And he's going to try to help me out. He's going to try to like make it not as expensive as it should be because he knows the people in the lab and such. But
that's got to be a fun conversation at the drug testing lab.
I'm going to tell him what I'm doing.
Right.
I'm going to tell him they'll listen to the podcast. Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah, but I want to see. My goal is to find out where we wake up. You don't dab as much as I do, but for your body weight, dude, you keep up closely, little Kev.
Oh yeah,
yeah. And
I went home from work and did like 15 straight and went to bed the other day.
You're a medical patient. You have shit that hurts, and you've got a good valid reason, and you like to take some dabs. So I want to find out where our nanograms of THC is in our blood to find out if we're legal to drive. Because when we're going to do an episode about DUIs and cannabis in Colorado. Did you just cut out in the headphones, Mike?
It's doing something
crazy. I think your channel has issues. We apologize for the tech difficulties. That requires...
whatever you did just fixed it. So.
Cool. Boom. Okay, so the sweet stone's dissolving, and it's giving me a little... my throat was all clogged up, so excuse me. I had some wonderful sweet stone flavor in there. The first piece of the cotton candy is dissolved to where I need another one. That shit is delish.
Nice.
Oh, they're different colors.
Every flavor I've had are amazing.
I think I'm going to wait till this piece is completely gone and try the blue and see if it varies in flavor or if they just did them different colors to be cute.
We're so spoiled here.
Right?
I talk to people in other states and they're like, I heard you can get brownies. And it's just like, yeah, brownies. We could get brownies in 95. We've had store shelf brownies since, 2004?
Mike and I worked at a dispensary.
Now is insanely huge.
Remember when we worked at Metamar and our friend the baker would come in and we were bud tenders. I was the manager. Mike was my backup bud tender. I was a head bud tender, I guess you'd call me. And the boss would come in, and this was before all the weird regulations. They would just make edibles at home.
They call this the Wild West days out here.
That's definitely what it was. They'd make these edibles at home, and they would bring them in by the tray, and they would have one set aside for Mike and I of everything that they made that they brought in for inventory that day. And sometimes there'd be a good 6 or 7 pieces. They had fudge, that white fudge, bro. I will fight you for the last piece of that fudge every day. That shit is so good. And it got me high as giraffe pussy. Thank you, Joe Rogan. Not stealing that.
I miss the banana bread. I still
The
dream
banana
about
bread.
The banana bread, dude. Not only was it delicious, it was like a kick to the face from a mule.
I saw
The rest of the day was just a beautiful bliss.
a 200-pound man roll down 2 flights of stairs. Not like a straight line. He had to turn. These stairs went straight down and turned to 180 and came back at you as they went down the second flight. He rolled down 2 flights of those stairs and giggled like a fucking cartoon character because
The
of
whole way.
too much of that banana bread.
Yep, too many pieces
man.
of banana bread when he was upstairs. And
There would be times when I'd look at one of the bosses and be like, can somebody just do this for a minute? And they would laugh at me. They didn't care that I was too high to function. They would laugh.
she'd walk in and set the tray down, and traffic would stop for a minute, and she'd go, "You eat one of these, tell me if it's any good." You'd go, "All right, it's like 11:05, we just opened, but yes, boss." And 15 minutes later she'd walk by and go, "How'd it taste?" And you'd say, "It was delicious." And she'd say, "Cool, try the fudge." "Yes, boss." It was just what a dream job.
Holy
people
crap. Sorry, that was loud.
Don't do that anymore.
The banana bread, the fudge, those were my favorites. Definitely. They made some sugar cookies that were shaped like weed leaves that I could eat like 1,000,000 of those in a shift.
Oh, just so good.
I didn't like caramel, but I heard the caramels there were amazing.
Yep.
I apologize. My mic just got ridiculously freaking loud.
We had
Leave that alone.
a really good chef back in the Metamar days.
Random question. Hey, Kevin, if you could hear any song right now, what would it be?
Any song right now?
Yeah, you're high. I asked you an on-the-spot question. Just fuck shit up.
On the spot.
Jesus? I don't know that song.
No, it's not Jesus, bro.
Jesus, bro. That sounds like a Ween song.
Oh my god.
You failed at my test.
Yeah, I failed. I don't know. There's too many. I have like 5 songs in my head.
Let's hear one of them.
The Mollusk,
Okay.
and that is a Ween song.
Yeah, that's odd that I said that. I know your head a little bit. Welcome to the group. What else you got?
Work hard, play hard. Some Wiz Khalifa right there. That's completely different end of the scale for you.
That's cool. You got to love that. Are you going to the Wiz Khalifa Snoop show?
Dude, I wish. I didn't end up.
I'm not sure
able
how
to
I feel
snag a
about
ticket in
paying
time.
$130 for a concert ticket. Partially, I love Red Rocks, don't get me wrong, but it's April 20th. I went last year on 420. You went with me, bro. It was cold. It was
it's
almost
gonna be cold.
I've read that
I'm
it's going
sure
to
it
snow
is.
by the weather reports, but that's
I'm
too far
sure
away
it'll
to
be
judge.
cold.
It's Morrison. If you didn't know it was gonna
Yeah.
be cold, you're not from
Right.
here.
Yeah, I've been there. I've seen Widespread Panic there 9 or 12 times, and it's never been as freaking cold
But
as it was.
I've never seen either of those artists, and those are 2 of my favorite
Right.
artists for
and
sure.
you'd probably pay
And
60 or 70
to go see either one on a
separately.
headline tour.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
But why pay
And on
extra just because
420.
it's on 420? There's
And
a
on
lot of
420.
shit going on that
You're not
day.
really paying extra. You're paying for each artist.
Each one
essentially.
separately, yeah.
Yeah.
So if they both do a good
Essentially.
hour, I'd be cool. I'd love to go
Yeah.
see Snoop. I want to see him on a more indoor venue. So I finished the pink piece of the Sweet Stone. I'm letting that flavor get out. I'm about to throw in the blue piece and see if it tastes any differently. It was like the fucking rudest thing I could have ever
gross.
done.
The sound
Damn,
of hard
dude.
candy.
It was fucking disgusting. It tastes the same as far as my taste buds can tell. It may have a thicker, more. It may have more flavor, but my tongue is going numb from all the medicine. I'm sucking on them real slowly. I noticed last time I ate these, I ate the whole pack as slowly as I could, sucking on them in a comedy show to not have cotton mouth and not have to piss every 10 minutes. Hey, they work greatly for that, by the way. If you need to go somewhere and just suck on some candy, these are the way to do it. My tongue went numb, though, and my lips went all numb. I was trying to talk to people, and I was like, hey, what the fuck? I got to get that figured out real quick. This little girl was tiny. She got up on a bar stool and measured my dreadlocks to her body height. She's like, I bet your dreadlocks are as tall as me. And she got up on a bar stool and measured. It was cute. All right. I've got a topic. I try to have a topic for the show, not just a bunch of dudes sitting here getting stoned, although it's been fucking good at that today.
That will happen.
Yeah.
We did some dabs. We're going to do another one.
You know, dude,
That
I
is
was
happening.
I was ordered to do this
You're doing
before
a
we
good
even
job.
started. The leader of this podcast.
I didn't. If I ordered you, I apologize. I didn't mean to order.
He was like, keep that bowl filled, and threw the bag of weed
Tasks
at me throughout the
were
podcast.
assigned.
Can you?
I'll vouch
If
for
somebody
that.
looks at you and throws a bag of weed in a pipe
Hey,
at you and's like, keep this
I'm not
full.
complaining,
You got to kind
but-
of just man up and keep that
I'm
shit
not
full.
complaining at all. But
Yes,
I'm
boss.
just saying.
All right, so we just had a conversation about shatter and wax. Shatter or wax, Kevin?
Let's do shatter.
All right, Mike.
I'll go with wax.
All right, we got one of each here. We got a shatter dab for Kev, bro.
The coughing you hear from me is no comment on the product.
We got a wax. Mike is. I'm surprised he's not coughing from looking at the hash.
Right. I can feel the cough building now just thinking about the dab to come, and that is entirely tobacco use related.
I was going to say, a lot
Don't
of cigarette
smoke tobacco.
smokers have issues with dabs. Those are the people I see having the most issues with coughing.
I'm really curious if our listeners enjoy us just chilling out, smoking some dabs and bullshitting, or if they like it better when I'm reading and getting to news. So
comment,
do me a favor.
people, let us know.
Tweet me. Tweet it. It's at iGrow
Yeah,
Culture.
definitely.
Because I'd like to do a show that is for the people. It's not just for us to sit here and get dabbed out. I'd like to serve a purpose.
The first two were very news related, and this one so far has been very sit around dab related.
Well,
That'll happen.
Hey, it's been
We can't
20
be
minutes of
serious
us
all the
just
time.
bullshitting. We got to get to the point,
yeah,
guys.
we do have points and things we are going to talk about.
I made a new friend.
Stay tuned.
Who is helping me.
Oh, that was the best transition ever.
I just packed up dabs for both of these guys on the two dabbers I've got available and did not save a dab for myself. You want the beer rig, bro?
Yeah,
Purple beer rig. Purple drippy beer rig.
I sure do.
I'm going to hand you the dome.
Got it. Got the dome.
Sexy beer glass.
Got the sexy beer
Shatter
glass.
dab on the highly
Shatter
educated
dab. Let's see.
carb cap.
What was this?
Go for it,
one?
bro. I'll let you do the
I
work.
forgot what strain this was.
That's Jack the Ripper from
Oh, cool. Yeah.
from
I
my
was gonna
garden.
Say, yep.
It's actually bred by TGA Subcool. Shout out TGA Subcool, TGA Genetics. I got this candy in my mouth. I feel like a rude asshole. It's so good. I don't give a shit, though.
Let's not melt the dab.
I do another podcast. I'm going to give them a shout out. I do a podcast called 719 The Blocks with my friend Wade Ridley. Shameless plug there. Listen to it. It's much more, it's not as dabby as this one.
It is entertaining.
It's a good show. But Wade, I handed him the dabber ready to go. We're live doing a show. And he put his mic on the microphone, or his mouth on the microphone, and dropped the dabber like he held the rig in front of him. He didn't burn anything, but he dropped the dab on the nail and inhaled into the mic. It was priceless. I called him out on the show, so if you guys catch that episode, it'll be funny. Chugging that sucker.
No, I enjoy every episode of that starts out with a "fuck you, Mike." So fuck you, Wade.
That's because you said that the intro was monotone.
Oh, I know.
And the
I
intro
love
is
it.
monotone, but
every
I don't
time
mind.
I fire up a show, I start with a good laugh because of that.
Yeah, 719 The Blocks podcast is what we're ranting about.
That's a tasty dab of Jack the Ripper. The last batch did not come out that good. The last Jack the Ripper batch that we did.
I think that's that batch, bro. It's the very end of it.
No, I know the batch we did before this one of
okay.
Jack the Ripper.
Yeah.
The
You know,
past one.
I had a phenotype that I was trying to get something out of that phenotype, and it wasn't what I was looking for, and I tried to be stubborn. I should have gotten rid of it. Nothing against that pheno, that strain. I'll grow Jack again. But that pheno wasn't a keeper for me, so it's gone. I've got a 5-pack of that. We'll run that again and find that lemon pheno.
Yeah, this run tastes much better in my
Hold
opinion.
on, you need the dome. Mike is going to cough like a champ because it's not a little baby dab that I gave him.
It could just be the difference in technique from a couple months ago to now.
Yeah, you're learning a
Or
lot, dude.
something.
I learn a lot from you. And
Practice
then
makes perfect, yo.
I'm often impressed by
Don't really do much
the knowledge that
different.
I see you gain. Because we're hanging out. You're not going anywhere. So I'm like,
Yeah.
where the fuck did he learn that?
Right?
Where did that idea just come
You
from?
never know when I'm sitting in my corner.
Remember the terpenoid
reading
question I texted you about? Do you want to discuss that on the air, or is that something you'd rather keep on the down low?
Well, I don't remember it. I
Okay,
don't even remember
here's
the
my
question.
idea.
Let's do it.
We talked about cold traps and pulling. Mike just goes wandering off. He's coughing.
He's not going to cough into the mic. He's too respectful for that.
If we don't hear from him in 10 minutes, we got to go find him.
Call
Resuscitate
Domino's.
him. Call Dom. I don't know what that'll do, but okay. This episode will be train wreck number 3. So we're using cold traps, and we're pulling out the gases and the leftover contaminants, and we're also separating terpenoids. And then you said something that caught my attention. Reintroduce the terpenoids back into the finished product so that it's tasty and contains terpenoids, which also affect your high and your medicinal qualities. Mm-hmm. Could I hypothetically save that cold trap, set those terpenoids aside, run another batch, gather those terpenoids, set them aside, run another batch, and introduce all 3 batches of terpenoids into one batch of smaller hash?
You could do that. There is a point of overdoing. That takes a little bit of a explanation. But
I could imagine. There's a point of overdoing everything. So
So I think it would take some experimentation to figure out what would be overdoing and what would be where you wanted it to be. And I think also a better use would to not necessarily get more flavor, but to save different terpenes that you trap from different cannabis. So because there's different concentrations of different terpene molecules.
Okay.
So take those different terpene molecules, combine those in a ratio for certain ailments, because the terpenoids have been known to help with certain conditions and help with how we receive the cannabinoids. So I think that would be a better and more practical use for it, is the combination of certain terpene profiles.
Does the future bring us isolating the cannabinoids specifically? Are we going to learn?
I think it. We're going to be able to, in the future, definitely isolate several cannabinoids, if not all of them, and several terpenoids as well. Readily identify them and separate them, probably through a couple. It would take a couple different processes, like almost like a condensation reaction, along with your normal solvent reactions, to get specific.
I follow you. Yeah.
Specific molecules out of each one. You know,
we're not going to get.
We'd have to purify it like they do gases and things. Like Addison I think Addison mentioned, or I may have mentioned on one of the past shows. The butane and pentane and stuff all comes from petroleum that's refined into those gases based on their boiling points. So it's going to take several reactions like that to be able to refine terpenoids, cannabinoids. I think we're going to start to discover the differences in them and each molecular structure's specific melting points, boiling points, and things, and we'll be able to separate that and reintroduce them with each other eventually.
So we can separate the whole pie.
Exactly.
Heat the pieces we need to cook off or I don't know if it's cooking off, but boiling off, dissipate, maybe the word I'm looking for.
Yeah.
Dissipate the gases and other products we don't want, filter out contaminants and waxes. Will that bring us to, I see a cylinder, a graduated cylinder, I think that's the word, with different layers of sediments in it that'll show waxes. Eventually what I'm headed for, what I want to know in the end, are we going to be able to pull apart pesticides? Like, are we going to say, here's all the pesticide that was found in your plant? Are we going to get to that?
As the research continues, I bet we can. I don't see why not.
The guys at Steep Hill can identify a pesticide in a plant that was treated while in early veg.
Yeah.
They can identify it in a dried and cured finished
so
flower.
We're already at that stage. And also you got to think about what something you were saying a second ago. They're already breeding plants to be 15 to 1 CBD THC ratios. Right. They're already on that stage of separating stuff in the plant stage, and not, the dabbing and concentrates in relative time aspect is much newer than growing weed.
Right.
So we're very early in our research and our study with what can be done and how it can be done, and it's already moved very, very, very quickly. So I think as more people, and with the legalization, more people like PhDs in chemistry and things like that know a lot about the subjects come into it, that'll start to teach the whole community about all of it. Steep Hill's a perfect example of that. Perfect example.
Those guys are crushing it. One thing that I mentioned on Facebook today on somebody's post, they were talking about CBD and how CBD helps them. I want to remind people, don't forget about the other cannabinoids, the terpenoids.
Right, there's 60
I try to make people understand.
60. Like we can identify 60 of them right now. There have got to be a lot more because we're discovering new shit every day. So don't go ahead. I'll let you. You've got something.
While I was off coughing, I was thinking that what you were talking about, Sanjay Gupta was just talking about in his last Weed 2 special that he just did. Excuse me while I cough a little bit more.
Dabs are going to do that to you.
Oh, dabs just ruined me for a minute. But what you two have been talking about is the very forefront of something he mentioned in his show called the entourage effect, or at least that's what they're calling it now in medical circles. And what that is the different cannabinoids, the 60 of them that you were just talking about, working together to produce amazing medical effects.
Yes.
Part of the hard sell in medical marijuana is it's so useful treating so many different things. So when someone doesn't believe you from the get-go and you tell them that it helps cancer, epilepsy, AIDS, the list goes on, they think you're lying. Mm-hmm. And it turns out that it's just different combinations of these different cannabinoids having amazing effects all over the body.
Right.
And you two are on the forefront of that with some of the work you're doing, and it's crazy that it's happening at places like it's happening instead of research labs and research laboratories across the U.S. because of the law. It's just silly.
And I got to point out that I'm really thankful and grateful. I don't want to point out whatever I am thankful to, but whatever you believe in, I'm fucking thankful to that, because I've got such a really cool position where I get to grow a medical cannabis product, and both of these guys sitting at my table, I'm their caregiver. I'm their medical marijuana supplier and caregiver. I get to talk with my bro Kev and see what hurts, what doesn't feel good. And he says, dude, I really like this strain that you grow. It makes my X not X and my smile go smile. And for me, and you just smiled like a dipshit when I said that, but that face when you smoke the weed that I grow to make you not feel like shit, that's golden to me, bro.
Yeah.
Same thing for you, Mike. I know you love my Grateful Dog like it's...
Oh, I was hurting when I got here today. It's been a rough week at work. Been hauling a lot of heavy things up a lot of stairs, and within half an hour of getting here, I was pain-free, and that's all due to the medicine you produce. And it just angers me when people say it's not medicine. I read that a dozen times today. Or when I read about CBD-only legislation. Finally, somebody's listening, but they're clearly not paying enough attention to what's being said. If they're taking away CBD-only legislation is actually going to help anyone.
Yeah.
You respect the whole plant, not just one part of it.
Definitely need the full profile of everything. That's what I try to explain to any patients or customers I get in the dispensary I work at now. That's one thing I really try to push, is that this entire profile of this plant is very important, and that's why concentrates really help so much, because it can concentrate that profile of that plant.
It's about the whole plant, not just teeny pieces of it.
Definitely.
All right. Well, that kind of brings me to another topic that I wanted to discuss. I did have something lined up for the show. The Colorado Department of Public Health and Environment is actually attempting to pass a bill to limit caregivers to 6 plants per patient and a limit of 5 patients per caregiver, which is going to be a cap. Did I say that right? You gave me a funny face.
No, it's my Mountain Dew bottle sounds crazy loud. My
it does, but
no matter where I move it, it gets louder.
So they're trying to make it to where a caregiver with 6 patients or with 5 patients, and including yourself if you want to grow medicine for yourself, but they don't even allow a number for that. They want to make it to where a private caregiver is capped out at 30 plants total. Right now you're able to go, if you go to the medical marijuana doctor and you pay your regular fee, the doctor should see you, examine you, and write you your recommendation, and that comes with a standardized count of 6 plants. And you can have 3 of those plants in flower and 3 of those plants in the veg stage, which means some are budding and some are not. If that, you got to read your own book to get that far with me.
Right, to even get to what we're talking about now, there's a whole lot of history.
Well, I'm going to try to catch us up.
Impacting it. Like, there are a lot of people who made crazy decisions to get us here, but this is what legislatures decided.
Right. And I have a nice little article written by a friend of mine who's very well written, and I'm going to read through it and try to do the best I can. But what I want to give people an update on what's going on. Right now, they write your card. If you are, I'm going to use your old man as an example. He requires a little more medicine than some people because he's got a condition that we need to supply him with.
Yeah.
And the doctor knows that because he's met with the doctor, and the doctor said, holy shit, you've got a condition. We got to get you treated. Who's your caregiver? How does he grow? How much medicine do you need? How is your grow going to make that much medicine? Okay, here's that many plants. They send it into the registry. He's legit. His caregiver has set up a grow to supply that much medicine for him. And he's also got, that caregiver also has more patients that he's responsible for. So he's got a certain amount of people he's responsible for taking care of. He's going to grow this many plants, produce this many ounces of weed for this many people. We've got it thought of, people are taken care of. Now they want to chop that down to only 30 plants. And now people are going to run out of medicine early because if I'm not able, you guys, I've got 5 patients that I'm responsible for, plus myself, and I know how to grow. I know how to pull weight off of a plant, and these guys can smoke some weed. Between
Put it mildly.
Between the raw flowers that we smoke, flowers is the buds for the people that aren't in the industry or aren't caught up on terms. When we say flower, we just mean buds, dried and cured, manicured buds. That's flowers. Concentrates, I'm usually talking about some BHO, some dabs. Between the flowers and the dabs and the edibles that these guys require, I need to grow more than what I'm not doing it, but I could use more plants. I could definitely use an increase in your guys' numbers because you guys like to medicate heavily.
Right. Well, in this, you have to get into some of the requirements for actually growing quality medical marijuana here. Like 6 marijuana plants sounds like a lot of marijuana plants. 30 marijuana plants sounds like a whole lot of marijuana plants. Earlier, you guys were talking about phenotypes. Everybody's talking about different strains. When you're capped at 30 and you're trying to supply 5 different people, all of a sudden you're incredibly limited into what you can do, what you can work with. And we wouldn't have CBD only strains or Charlotte's Web or any of that without a dispensary system that was allowed to grow thousands of plants.
Right.
And trying to caregive, you almost have to do hundreds of plants over a couple of years to really get your patients figured out.
Well, there's something else I wanted to get in.
And trying to do that 30 at a time is just crazy.
I like to grow big plants. I like a 7-gallon pot filled with the soilless mix, a lot of perlite in there, I'm not even going to tell you too much of it, but I like a nice 7-gallon pot. And I like to veg them until they're about 3 feet tall, 3.5 feet tall, and I like to flower them at that point. I'll top them once to where they're a nice bush, and by the time they're done, they're about 6 feet tall. I like to grow a big plant, but if I grow my Super Silver Haze that I've got in a pot that size, I'm burping. If I grow a Super Silver Haze strain that I have in a pot that size, it'll grow through the freaking ceiling in the 11 weeks that it takes to finish. So right. I run more of those plants in smaller pots because it's more, as a grower that's experienced, I know that's the most economical and efficient way to run with that strain. So I have to I have to time it because if I have to count, I have so many numbers I can play with. And if I want to do Super Silver Haze for my guy that wants a straight up head racing sativa, I've got to plan 9 of those instead of 4. And that just messes up my plant count already just for strain adjustment. So that's changing our numbers is going to mess with us. And they're trying to stop us from being a lucrative enterprise. And right now being a caregiver, it nearly costs me money to be a medical marijuana caregiver. I don't make any money doing it, certainly. There are light bills. I work. I spend a lot of time putting your guys' medicine together.
Right. It's not easy. If I would say I was to order something that was, 50% THC, 50% CBD, or whatever the profile is, how long from me going, I want this, to you being able to produce it?
Do I have the strain that you want, or do I need to create that for you?
No, I just showed up and I'm a jerk. I've never mentioned it before, and I want it now.
Breeding a strain is going to take me at least, to breed it the first time, I got to get the male. I got to get the female. If I've got the male and female that you're hoping I can, I have to have the male and female, and I have to get them both vegged big enough. I have to flower them out. The veg stage is probably 2 months. Flower stage is definitely 2 months, maybe 2.5 to 3, depending, because you got to time a male and a female. I'm at 5 months already. I'm going to kick out seeds. The plant's got to dry. I got to pull the seeds out. You're looking at another few weeks there. We're half a year just making the first batch of seeds. Now we have to run those and share those with other providers that can take a clone of that, so that if they find the champion that you're looking for, then I can get a clone of that. And then I need to breed that one to either the male or the female again, the male again, to stabilize it. And then...
So we're like year 2 now, right?
Yeah, it's going to take us a little while. We'll have what you need at first, but if I want to get it in seed form that's solid for it to be out and available, we're looking at 2, maybe 3 years.
Right, like it'll be available to sample a little here and there, but before it can be something that you could keep available steady for, we're looking at 3 years.
Yeah. Luckily,
and that's what the rules though they are now. If all of a sudden every caregiver in Colorado is limited to 30 or 36 plants.
And see,
or
they
some
don't even
areas have hard
limited
limited people, period. If you're working in Denver City and County, you're limited to 12 plants per household, period. No exceptions.
How many mother plants do some genetic companies have?
Right? Hundreds.
I know that Archive, I can't quote, but I'm pretty sure Archive has about 18 to 25 mother plants, Archive Seed Bank.
Oh, I would be way off then.
Yeah. I think Subcool probably has got 40.
I was thinking strains, not mother plants.
Oh, yeah,
Sorry.
mother plants. Just
Dabs.
like one seed company, like one seed guy. In the big guys, like Swerve's probably got, I'm just dropping names now, Swerve's probably got 35 mother plants that he works with.
Yeah.
And 2 males, and he reverses shit, and so he'd have to keep 35 females just to have those for genetic supply.
Like, without...
That's kind of that's stretching it, though, a little bit.
This is where all those crazy names come from, is all the hard work that these people are that we're describing right now.
All right, I'm going to read the summary of a caregiver bill that's written by my friend Kevin. Hey, Kevin, I apologize. It's not the Kevin at the table. It's another Kevin. I don't know how to pronounce your last name, and I feel it'd be more polite just to straight up say, I don't know how to pronounce that. I'd like to meet you in person, shake your hand, and have you tell me how to say this. Kevin is the political director for Pink House Blooms. He's a very educated and well-written, well-spoken young man. Here's what he has to say. I'm reading from my iPhone, so excuse me when I have to re-find my spot several times. The current debate focused around Colorado's marijuana caregivers is a result of a recent audit of the caregiver program by the Colorado Department of Public Health and Environment and the Department of Revenue. Yeah, the Department of Revenue is attached to our marijuana system in Colorado.
They keep good notes.
They do keep very good notes. Throughout the process, there were several shortcomings in regard to the enforceability of the program and the overall implementation. Auditors discovered regulars were not sufficiently overseeing doctors who issue recommendations to patients. Caregivers were not given proper oversight from the health department. Officials failed to issue red cards within the constitutionally required 35-day timeline, which has been a problem since day one right there.
Yep.
They never had that right.
How is that the caregiver's fault?
Well, no, this is what sparked it all. They audited it because of this, and then they realized all the stuff that's going on. And I agree with part of it, and we'll get on to, I understand why. But, so they're not getting their cards in the required time, and also accused the health department of charging too much inpatient application fees, which they have reduced to $15. It started off at $90, it went down to $35. They did something for indigent people, and now it's $15.
They've got an overage in their account of like 10 or 13 million or something like that in state law for bids, things like that. So they've had to drop the fee over and over and over again because they can't take in any more money legally until they spend all the money they've already shaved out of the medical marijuana program.
It's kind of handy.
It's a nice little provision if you're a taxpayer for sure. Or a red card holder. I like that the fee got cheaper. Do you like that the fee got cheaper?
I definitely appreciate that.
Let's applaud the fee getting cheaper.
Yeah.
Yay.
So the Department of Public Health, and these guys are plotting live in the studio here. The Department of Public Health and Environment generally agreed with the recommendations from the auditor's report and are already taking steps to rectify the issues. They're considering redefining who is an authorized CDPHE employee, which could mean increased access to private medical marijuana records by independent contractors, limiting the number of patients that private medical marijuana caregivers can serve, as well as putting a cap on the number of plants an individual may grow. Did that make sense to you guys? I felt like I might have skipped something. Make sense?
That made sense to me. But I know what all those words mean, and there was a lot of industry lingo in there for the listeners.
Yeah. So they wanted, here's the sentence they should have caught: limiting the number of patients that private medical marijuana caregivers can have, as well as putting a cap on the number of plants an individual may grow. It's reiterating what I was saying. It's going to fuck things up. So I'm going to continue. Dr. Larry Wolk, W-O-L-K, of the Colorado Department of Public Health. I'm going to say CDPHE from now on to save us all a headache. So Larry Wolk with the CDPHE, along with the state legislators, are working to craft new laws clarifying their stance on caregivers and home growers. But House Speaker Mark F., who does... I'm not good with these names that are not English completely. So Mark, I'm not going to fuck up your name. I have respect for that. Mark, who decides which bills can be considered, said he won't allow a vote on the issue until medical marijuana caregivers and patients are consulted. Maybe they're going to kind of try to listen to us, and we've already raised a stink. Here we are doing it.
They had one public hearing already, and I know that a number of caregivers stood up and spoke. I know that a couple failed to put their best foot forward, which was unfortunate, but for the most part, they went and they said our piece and tried to explain to the legislature why limiting people in this way is a terrible idea. Anytime government is between a patient and a doctor, bad things tend to happen. And that's totally what's going on here. They want to tell you what your prescription should be. And because in Colorado we're not allowed to have prescriptions for medical marijuana, we have to have a recommendation and all sorts of other things. The legislature just realized that doctors haven't been giving out the minimum for everybody. That for the 110,000 people in the program, doctors have actually been talking to the patients, asking them how much they consume, how often, and writing them a recommendation that's appropriate to that. And they freaked out. Now, there are one or two examples that they cite that are pretty egregious, I'd admit. The dude with 501 plant count. That's...
Yeah, since federal limits, any federal plants is illegal federally.
But they say they don't care if it's 99,
right.
And they do if it's 100. And one dude with a 500 plant count card, that's a lot of plants.
Yeah, well, that's cool because that's like the guy when you're on the highway and there's that one guy in the yellow Camaro that goes hauling ass past you, and you go, enjoy that ticket, and you could just drive right by the cop because he's fucking with that other guy already. We'll just let that guy with the 500 plants race right by us.
There's only 24 caregivers in the whole state, I think it said, that have more than 5 patients. So they're making a huge stink out of a pretty small problem for the most part. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, they need to change the rules for everybody and screw up 12 years of good practice.
We're going to talk about that in a minute here because I'm
jumping ahead.
Well, no, that's just the part I want to rant about. That's the result, and we got to save the result after we read. You got to do all the math, and then we'll summarize the results. So I'm going to read a little more. There's one good paragraph. The caregiver issue has the marijuana community split down the middle. The industry, MMIG and CBA, are both supporting the CDPHE's efforts, while patients and patient advocacy groups, Patients Out of Time, Colorado Springs Medical Marijuana Council, Coloradans for Cannabis Patients' Rights, and Green Faith Ministries make up the opposition. Many believe that groups such as MMIG and CBA are only supportive of tighter regulations because, and this is what I'm thinking, it will force patients into the regulated market and, in return, increase profits. Those that are opposing efforts cited doctor-patient relationships, privacy, and compassion as areas of concern. So, what I think is going to happen here, if they will limit my number of plants, all caregivers, not just myself, they'll cut us down, and it's going to make a short supply because there's already a short supply.
The supply in Colorado it was tight before.
Well, I'm responding. Do you ever go anywhere else to get your medical marijuana other than your caregiver?
Only when I'm stuck out of town.
Right. If you're in Denver and you got carried away. Yeah. How about you, Kev? Sometimes,
but I work at a medical marijuana dispensary. So
yeah, it never hurts my feet. Yeah, and I love it when you bring over some train wreck like you did today to smoke me out with. That was pretty tasty. That's always advantageous.
Because that's my responsibility to know about what we have
and
there.
You got to know. Yeah, I wouldn't.
Not outside of market research, though, for the most part.
But outside of my work, I don't unless I'm like in Denver and I'm hitting
dispensary hopping because it's fun. Yeah,
because I'm out of town.
Well, what I'm getting at is you guys don't need to go anywhere else because I do my best to even
does his job very well.
Sometimes I won't make dabs out of my personal supply so that I've got that extra little bit because I know you guys are gonna. I've got you timed.
He grows strains for us that we like that he doesn't.
Did I say on the air or was this a private talk? I grow the Tora Bora like a boss, and I do not like growing the plant. Personally, as a grower, as a cannabis photographer, I don't like growing Tora Bora. It doesn't grow well for my growing style, my environment. It doesn't get along with the rest of my plants. It doesn't play the same. But these guys love it.
The majority of his patients love it, and so he keeps it around for us. It's so medicinal.
It's wonderful.
Amazing.
The pain
and
just
it harvests
away.
half as much as all of my heavy hitter sativa plants.
There's a few strains that he does that with, which is really awesome. Like he really gets our opinion, takes it to heart, and runs with it.
It's like I've said before. My joy is watching people feel better. I've got a friend who he's got a bad back. He's got some sciatica. His legs are fucked up. He walks with a cane. He showed up here in pain. And we all hung out, and I got him nice and heavily medicated, and he stood up to leave, and the old bastard forgot his cane. That's how good he felt. That's how good the man felt.
That statement in itself is huge. Forgot his cane.
Yeah. I made that happen. Like, I'm not trying to say it, but I mean, the feeling inside me was like, wow, he's walking upright. He forgot he hurts. He had a little bit of spiritual therapy from hanging out with all of us for an hour or whatever. That kind of stuff is priceless. So when they limit my grow, or other caregivers, because mine, they're not really going to, this isn't going to hurt me too much, honestly. My problem is that I've got mother plants, and I'm going to have to like minimize mother plants to make this work or something else. But I can adjust. I can roll with punches. That's what a grower does. That's what a breeder does. You fucking adapt, adjust, fucking move on. But there are going to be people that cannot do, they're not as skilled, they're not as educated, they aren't as experienced. They're not going to be able to keep up their supply for their patients. What's going to happen is these people are going to have to go to a dispensary. But here's another fucked up issue. The medical marijuana dispensaries are running out of medical cannabis, while the recreational dispensaries are well stocked. I find that fucked up. But,
hugely.
So, Mike, you're going to have to go, I'm out of weed because they limited my numbers. I can't grow. I don't have your ounce for this whatever time period that we hypothetically, but I'm not going to go to weights and numbers.
Right,
but
thank you for not disclosing medical information
right,
on the podcast.
Your monthly your monthly prescription, sorry, right. It's half short because of these new regulations. I haven't adjusted my grow to that yet. You're going to have to go to the dispensary to get
the
a half
real
a month
world
supply.
Implications of that on my world are huge.
Yeah,
like
financially, you're going to
the
be
cost
hurting.
Increases. I almost don't want to say because you could kind of look it up if you really do your do your homework, people. This will give you an example of how jealous you should be. I would pay at least twice as much if I had to fill my prescription at a retail.
At a medical. You would pay twice as much at a medical shop.
At a medical shop, nearly.
Because of the taxes.
Almost 3 times at a
Three
retail,
times at a retail
recreational shop.
And you're gonna. What I'm getting at is the medical shops are out of weed, and that's where the medical. Most of the stuff that's there is tested. They're a little ahead of that. Everything's going to have to be tested here real soon.
Come July.
Well, like no, there's for sure.
But
I
provide you a strain
specific.
I provide you a strain specific product that you have gotten to look at. You've gotten to trim with me. You've experienced that plant. I think part of you touching your medicine, like you guys have been involved.
Being able to see it all the way through is amazing.
Makes it better. You are connected to that as you consume it, and I'm a Rastafarian, and I feel that touch, that connection makes the medicine work better for you. You're involved with it.
I'm certain that's one of the reasons that when I make concentrates from your material, it's the most fun, and I get the best concentrates out of it. And the whole process is just really awesome to me. Not that it isn't always, but with your material, there's like an extra level to that for me, and I think that's part of it, just being able to watch these plants grow and being so close to you and the plants and stuff, it makes it like
And when you guys ask me, how is the lemon Jeffrey doing?
Yeah,
I'm like,
exactly.
it's at week 7. Come look.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Come, like, and wash your hands. Come take a look.
Yeah.
I came over half a dozen times watching the last batch of Grateful Dog come up. just I know you don't have any. Can I just come stare at it for like 40 minutes? Yep. Sure, come on over.
I have learned to eliminate a lot of the sprays and things that I don't think I would want to consume in my hash. If I wouldn't mist it into the air and let it land on my hash, I'm trying to get it out of my grow room.
Right.
And I am seeing more and more companies, more grows. I'm privileged. I get to go into grow rooms and I get to see things that fucking civilians would shit their pants over, dude.
Right.
But I see floramite.
It's on so many levels.
Floramite in a quart or pint container in professional grow rooms. And that, dude, though, if you know, floramite is terrible. If you spray floramite, I guess any time is what I'm learning. Even in veg now, it's going to still remain in your flowers. At harvest, after flush, it'll be there. And you're going to be dabbing it most likely if you're a future kid. And you're dabbing neurotoxins on a daily basis. Yummy.
None of this tested stuff we're talking about would be available without legalization.
These guys know I'm not floramite dabbing them.
Yep.
No, I've been watching you learn and whatnot since pretty much the beginning, right?
Mike, remember the time that I saw... I fucked up one time really badly. It was the middle of winter, and my gear... It had switched from the... In Colorado, we get a heavy switch from fall or summer, fall, winter. It just goes boom. It's about a week.
Right.
You'll be wearing shorts and a t-shirt, and then you're in fucking Eskimo boots and a snow hat, freezing your dick off. And at that time period, I got powdery mildew from not adjusting and adapting to the rooms because I wasn't experienced in Colorado to grow yet. I got a 4 to 5 ounce white rhino plant that had powdery mildew up the one side that was facing the wall because the wall radiated cold and it made it. I'm sure that's how
it was
I got
an
the
amateur
mildew.
mistake, but
I
your
cut the
answer
entire...
to it, I totally remember this night because it's one of the reasons that I stopped really shopping anywhere else because I knew that whatever was coming from your garden had this step in it. And I watched him take a set of shears, cut the plant out of its pot and stuff stuff it right in a big black trash bag, and haul it out of the house immediately.
Yeah.
And
That's
it
what
was
needed
a
to be
4
done.
or 5 ounce plant. We had just trimmed 2 identical to it that were perfectly healthy, and that third one right into the trash. Just no question, no thought to loss or any of that. And I have watched other growers cut mold and things out of plants and sell the rest.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm a medical marijuana caregiver, and I love the guys that I'm helping out. I really do. I got a big heart, I like to think, for being such a big dude. I got a big heart. If I would have given the old man I talked about earlier that has a cane, or my friend Doug that you guys know, or even you guys, if I would have given you moldy weed with powdery mildew in it, and in your future, any of you get some sort of lung infection, I will think that was my fault, and I'll feel like shit forever for it.
Right.
That's not my job. My job is to keep you better.
Yeah, keep all that shit out of your plants,
Yeah.
please, because for us extract artists, it can be nightmare on equipment. It can be nightmare in the extracts, first and foremost. No sprays, no fucking mildew, no molds. None of that. I've heard a lot of people recently saying, "Oh, that's okay. Just use it and just please don't throw it away." It's not worth the health
I've heard
issues
people
of-
tell me that the only thing you can do with moldy pot is blast it.
Yeah, that's what I've
into
heard too.
butane.
And don't.
The only
don't
thing you
do
can
that.
do is
And
throw it away.
Yeah.
I throw up a little in my mouth when people say stuff like that.
I
and
heard
I have
someone
to remember
say-
that I'm a peaceful person and
I
I
heard
should
someone-
not scream.
I heard someone say the other day, "Well, it kills it." And it's like, dude, it concentrates it.
That's what you're
Like-
doing. You're making it concentrate.
Exactly.
Any of the pesticides, any of that nasty
Yeah.
Floramite stuff.
Don't even do it.
No, don't. That's why I say
That's my
that the coolest
PSA
thing
for
to
the
come
day.
with legalization is lab testing. Lab testing has
Yes.
provided us so much. All of the worst parts of the only real dangers really of buying pot in the 90s was it might be moldy or it might have powdery mildew in it or God only knows what they sprayed on it to get their crop to harvest.
You ever
And
been able
now
to?
it's labeled. I know it's tested.
You ever tasted spider mites or spider mite eggs, or think that you could,
Yep.
like,
Well, everybody
you hear
had their
It
their
pops
old
a
wives' tale, old hippie tales about if
Oh.
it pops or if it sparkles or if it crackles or if it burns black or. Oh,
No.
yuck.
God.
No.
I don't
Yuck.
miss those days at all.
Yeah, for sure.
Much respect to all the pioneers and the revolutionaries. Hey, if you guys are here, my homie Task Rock said, if you're here, it's likely you're a pioneer. This is stage 2 of that. You guys are jumping into phase 2.
Yeah.
Phase 1 was, well, I'm going to say we're phase 2. Task and Hellstone crew was phase 1. We came in at phase 2. Now you guys are phase 3 of the
If you're a
Dab crew.
fan, then it's likely you're a pioneer.
You could look back on this day and say, I was here.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
Shout out Task Rock. I love you, bro.
Word.
I feel like we've been talking about me growing a lot. That's kind of weird. I want to say that
Well, I mean, the stuff they're talking about in the legislature right now screws with us on a personal level every day.
Yeah, it really does.
I mean,
Yeah.
think about the medications you take on a daily basis, or your diet. We've got a bunch of Mountain Dew sitting on the table. Shout out to
I do not. I want to mention that I have really quit drinking Mountain Dew, and I'm effing proud of myself. I had a bad addiction.
I'm fairly impressed as well as a serious Mountain Dew addict, but like, think about some idiot in Congress toying with your drug regimen every day on a personal medication level.
Uh-huh.
What if your Xanax prescription was about to go from 3 pills a day to 1 because somebody in Congress just realized that doctors weren't giving out the bare minimum regardless of what the patient feedback was?
If I told you can only take your birth control pill on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, good luck.
Right? Like, how many different medications? I'm sorry, your Prozac's just 2 a day now because, you know, the legislature really doesn't think you should be taking 4 a day regardless of how much your body actually needs.
Or what your doctor
Or what
has
your doctor
figured
thinks.
out for
It's
you even.
crazy.
Yeah.
And I actually use marijuana for medical purposes. I was injured. I have nerve-generated pain. You can Google this. We don't have a pill that works great on nerve-generated pain.
No.
I can swallow a Vicodin, and I did for a number of weeks after I got hurt, and my arm still felt like it was stuck in a car door.
I'm going to do a Jack the Ripper dab with one of these Sweet Stone candies in my mouth, and I can imagine it's going to be fucking delicious.
What did do it?
Yeah.
We're going to do it. Keep talking for a minute. One of you guys
But
talk while I take a dab.
me, along with a whole bunch of people in Colorado, tried marijuana as a medicine for a medical effect.
I just pictured a bunch of you and a bunch of people sitting down like at the base of Buttermilk Mountain, just lined up.
We all
Let's
got
try
together
this.
and we're like, all right, everybody, don't take your pain medication today. We're all going to go do dabs and try that for a day. But that's essentially what we did. I stopped taking pills for a day and just smoked a little bit of pot in the morning and went about my day off.
Smoked a lot of pot in the afternoon.
And as the day went on and I started to hurt more, I'd smoke a little more and the pain would fade right away. Right now I'm pain-free, and I was hurting when I got here a few hours ago. I'll be a little sore again when I leave so that I can drive safely home. I mean, back to the blood testing you're going to submit yourself to. I can't wait till that happens on a legit level.
I'm slightly afraid of needles, but I've got tattoos and I've donated plasma, so I think I can handle it.
Make them write you a note for the track marks.
Right. So one thing I want to mention before we quit ranting about me and growing, and I want to get on to the next subject here. I think a lot of the places that people get problems from their plants, their bugs often come from clones. You're bringing in bugs when you bring in clones from other people. It's awesome to trade clones, but be careful, dude. Be careful. Inspect that shit the best that you can and have some sort of organic regimen to get rid of those spider mites. Quarantine that plant. Spider mites are the most common and also one of the most fucking pesky.
That's why seed is so awesome and why plant count limits of 3 and 6 and 30 are so restrictive, is because I got to order 10 seeds.
I like growing
and I got to pop all 10 of them, and there's a third of what you're allowed to have.
Yeah. And then you got to you got to take clones of them.
Right, from those 10 seeds, you might get 1 or 2 that you keep, but until you figure that out, you've got 10 and you've got to check off your count. Sorry not to stick on this one topic, but it's one I've been watching all week, and it strikes a nerve.
We can tell. It's good. Excuse my cough. I'm looking for an article I've got saved here. What are you reaching for, bro?
Do the thing with my headphone jack again.
Tap him. Make him get live again.
Perfect. It's slowly rotating, and when it's not in the sweet spot,
it comes undone.
The sound bounces from right to left in my headphones, and it's disorienting. Like, it's hard to explain exactly how, but
this has been our longest episode so far. I'm kind of proud of us.
We're doing well.
Yeah, lots of talking. It feels good. So every episode I tried to do a segment that I call Give Thanks. This is our second installment of Give Thanks. That was cool. I pulled the word installment right out of my ass.
Bam.
I hope somebody saw that. It flew out like a big purple unicorn.
I did not need to visualize that.
Whoomp, big purple unicorn coming at the horn got me good. So I'm going to get seriously now and pay respects and give thanks to everybody's favorite, Jack Herrera. I think it's Herrer. It's Herrer. I better not say Herrera. We got to say Herrer.
Everybody pronounces it differently. Yeah. I don't even attempt it.
Well, I know that I used to think that it was like short for Herrera, like it was from the same offshoot, because where we're from, that's a popular name. It's not that. So it's Herrer and not Herrera. So we're going to try to say it right. I got to retrain my brain. I apologize. We're just take a dab. That's my excuse. So, Jack Herrera, I want to give you thanks. You're crucial to the cannabis movement. I'm going to read a little bit about him. This is mostly from Wikipedia. Jack Herrera was born in June 18th of 1939, sometimes called the Emperor of Hemp. Jack Herrera was an American cannabis activist and the author of The Emperor Wears No Clothes.
A book still worth buying and reading, ladies and gentlemen.
Have one at work signed.
Nice. And this book, why is it worth buying and reading? You guys want to elaborate on that for me for a minute?
Go ahead.
I talk a lot.
It's a fantastic history of hemp in the U.S. and across the world, and you should read it.
There we go.
That's the short version, the really short version.
And it's used to back up like the legalized cannabis talks. It's got a lot of reasons, like useful stuff.
It's got things in the front that's, I don't remember. It's been 15 years since I've read this book. Now I feel bad for not being prepared, but it's essentially a challenge for an insane amount of money that if you can disprove anything in this book, I will give you a huge amount of money, and no one ever attempted to claim it. Nice. Because you can't disprove anything he says, and it's really the pioneer book about cannabis and all of the medical and industrial uses in a time when knowing a bunch about marijuana was a criminal offense, essentially.
Sounds good. I like you know some shit, bro. So,
right. Jack Herrera was out of a really high me.
I saw your eyes roll back in your head, and you just started going.
I had to dig through a hash ball to get it, but I got it there.
Jack wrote 2 books. He wrote, of course, The Emperor Wears No Clothes, which we've been ranting about, and also a book called Grass. There's also a documentary about him called The Emperor of Hemp. Jack Herer believed that the cannabis plant should be criminalized because, sorry, I got the sweet stone in my mouth. I had to move it out of the way. He believed the cannabis plant. Candy. There's like 5 or 6 little ones in this package, and I'm just savoring every fucking lick of that thing. He felt the cannabis plant should be decriminalized because it has been shown to be a renewable source of fuel, food, and medicine that can be grown in virtually any part of the world. He further asserts that the U.S. government deliberately hides his proof. There is a strain of Jack Herer. Wikipedia mentions that. Herer. I did it again. But I should mention that strain was absolutely not his favorite. He wasn't even very fond of it, which is kind of ironic in my opinion.
Like most strains named after people, the people they're named after never interact with the person attempting to honor them in any way. So you get that a lot.
Loud Seeds and Ganja Farmer OG, big up, give them a shout out. They actually collaborated. They got the Ganja Farmer OG. That's kind of neat.
I was waiting for that.
I'm impressed. I'm impressed.
It does not surprise me that you know the example that breaks the rule.
Yeah,
there.
well, that's too. That Loud is a great breeding company, and they were all over the Cannabis Cup last year. Everywhere you looked, it was Loud.
Yeah.
And Marlon Asher is a reggae artist that sings Ganja Farmer, so of course I'm going to know that.
Nice.
Of course. Did you guys know that Herer ran for the United States president twice in 1998 and 1992 as a grassroots party candidate? I did not know that.
I could not have told you the years, but I knew that was one of the stunts that he pulled.
Unfortunately, in July of 2000, he suffered a minor heart attack and a major stroke, resulting in difficulties speaking and moving the right side of his body. He mostly recovered, but on September 12th, 2009, he suffered another heart attack while backstage at the Hempstock Festival in Portland, Oregon. He spent a month in critical condition in a Portland hospital. In a medically induced coma, he was discharged to another facility. Paul Stanford of the Hemp and Cannabis Foundation said that he's waking up and gazing appropriately when someone is talking, but he's not really communicating in any way. And unfortunately, he passed away at the age of 70 on April 15th of 2010 in Eugene, Oregon, from complications related to the September 2009 heart attack. He was buried in Mission Hills, California. One more little piece of info. On August 12th of 2012, a video was released, uploaded to YouTube, of a man named Rick Simpson claiming that Jack passed the torch of legislation. The Sweet Stone's got my mouth all. It's delicious. Fucking buy them. Rick Simpson claims that Jack passed the torch of legislation to him. So big up. We thank you for your life's work, Jack Herer.
Definitely.
Thank you, sir.
Respect.
For sure.
Respect. Man, I want to mention one funny thing. There's a guy named Jeff McElroy. He is running for the mayor of Toronto, Canada. This is not an endorsement in any way.
This week.
Not an endorsement. That's just how this story starts. His campaign sign, he's got these big, they're 6 feet wide, and I think they're 6 feet tall, but they're like a plywood sheet, so it's only, like, it's got posts, so it's only half of the width that it is wide.
It's a pretty burly campaign sign.
Yeah.
It's not the little plastic one on the wires.
No, it's as wide as your car.
Burly car one.
But this sign, the sign reads, Jeff McElroy. He promises to just smoke pot as mayor, not crack. Anyone's better than Rob Ford. Right. And if you get that, you get that. That's fucking funny.
I love that Rob Ford's approval ratings have gone up or remained steady since the scandal broke. It turns out in Canada, no one really cares what you smoke as long as you don't screw with them too much from a government standpoint.
One more piece of information that I feel like we should share with the world. We're coming to you from Colorado. We talk about that a lot. I love Colorado. We've got medical and recreational marijuana here.
Ever.
Well, we got to go some places sometimes.
You can't make me.
All right, the look on your face is pretty serious.
Oh, I had this conversation yesterday with the wife, and I really don't want to leave without some serious tempting. Like, it's got to be a pretty happy order. Anyway, go on with what you're saying.
If you're this man, several people apparently have reported that they were in Idaho driving with Colorado license plates, and they are harassed by the police, pulled over, and the cops harass them about marijuana. Like, they're driving cool, but and this is allegedly, I am not in anybody's shoes here. I'm reading a story from The Cannabist is actually where I found this. Guys, if you want cannabis news and you don't feel like hearing me rattle it off and stutter it, The Cannabist has a lot of great stuff. My friend Kevin, that works with Pink House, also sends me a lot of great info, and I scour the web for this stuff to find it. If you've got something you want to hear, feel free to tweet it to me at iGrow Culture, and I'll talk about it. I'd love to do that. Would love to do it. So what's going on in Idaho? These cops are pulling you over and fucking with you because you got Colorado plates. One guy, they detained him, and they took his car to the police station and had 6 cops search his car for 6 hours. And they didn't find anything, but the cop treated him like a prick the entire time and was real accusatory that the man was carrying cannabis. Turns out the guy was an affluent businessman and has a little bit of money. So now he's sparking up a lawsuit against the police force that harassed him. So I can't wait to see how that turns out.
This story is making the rounds this week, but it's really just the latest example of this happening in all the states around Colorado. It's been getting worse since we first passed our medical marijuana laws back in 1999, or at least after the dispensary explosion in 2008 is when it got real bad. Is Colorado license plates are like a big target on your back if you're out of state. You're going to get pulled over at some point, or people have been alleging this for years. There's a video of it that you can pull of people trying to record these encounters. There's a number of testimonies, I suppose you'd call them, that have been put up on the web of people being pulled over and harassed for hours, searched extensively for marijuana or other drugs because they've got Colorado plates.
Mention what happened in Texas, and this will be our last little segment.
In other states along the southern border especially, there's been a number of cases in the last 6 months or a year or so of troopers pulling over people, not necessarily with Colorado plates from anywhere, and saying, I think you have drugs. And when the person says, I'm sorry, officer, I don't have any drugs or contraband, the cop essentially keeps insisting you have drugs. And then in a number of examples, an example recorded on a dash cam, an officer performs vaginal and anal cavity searches on an aunt and a niece at the same time on the side of the road without changing their glove. I mean, just take a minute and throw up, and I apologize for that.
So I want to make this nice and clear.
But this is the side of a public highway in Texas.
Okay. A cop car, your car, these ladies' car, on the side of the highway, lights are flashing.
Yep.
Aunt and niece on the side of the highway.
Yep. Like a 40-year-old and a 20-year-old female.
Probably handcuffed, feeling humiliated, scared.
Yep, terrified. I don't think they were handcuffed, but they definitely were humiliated and terrified.
So this officer, I don't know if it was a trooper or a state patrol or what they were, this dick.
Member of law enforcement.
This Leo is what we call them. Took a rubber glove, put it on one hand, one glove.
One glove on one hand.
Put it in suspect number one's vagina.
Yep.
Proceeded to spin suspect number one and then dig in person's anus.
Yep.
So front to back action here with the same glove.
Same glove.
Now here's the best part that I want to clear up. Went to the next suspect, which is now I'm calling a victim because you're being raped.
Yep.
Fingers in the butt to see if you got drugs.
Yep.
Fingers in the vagina to see if you got drugs.
I believe it was the reverse order, but yes.
Either way, that glove's been in your friend's butthole.
That same glove, 4 orifices, 2 people. All of this, I feel,
How many bacteria? Can you count the bacteria that got moved around in that transaction?
I don't even want to know. If one of us did it, we'd be charged with forcible rape on 2 victims.
And some sort of...
The fact that it happened on the highway just because the cop felt like pulling him over and going, I think you've got drugs, is appalling.
That sucks.
This is America,
really
land
sucks.
of the free, home of the brave. Are you kidding me? We're clearly terrified if we're raping women on the side of the highway with the same glove, looking for a little weed. Like, how much drugs could you have in a vagina? Like, does that warrant any of this? And this isn't an isolated example. When these stories break, a number of people come forward and say, that happened to me last October. And you can look all this stuff online. Please, Google anything I've said tonight.
He said, please. So I challenge you to do it. I really want you to do it. So that was a little bit of a disgusting note to end on.
I really hate to take it there, but we're spoiled in Colorado. We have access to legal, regulated, well-done marijuana that's produced and sold just about like every other product on the market. And we enjoy safety and oversight that you don't get in the majority of the other 49 states. And we also enjoy freedom from persecution because of our use of this beautiful plant.
Beautiful plant. All right. Here's what I want everybody to do. If you don't want the new caregiver law to pass, I want you to call the state reps. And I'm an idiot and I don't have that phone number available. I would have to look through my phone, and I feel like I got a podcast
You can
to do.
Google the rep for your area real easy.
What I'm going to do, I will tweet it at iGrow Culture on Twitter, and I'll get that number out for you guys to call. I'm writing a note to do that because I'm a pothead and I'm forgetful. But do your best to contact your local Colorado rep, and tell them not to change the caregiver account and let us do what we're doing, because we're not fucking around. We're trying to help sick people.
Every rep in Colorado has a web page with a button on it to make it easy to email them. Please do so.
Do it. That's it's our responsibility to fight for what we want. It's our responsibility to stand up and speak. If nobody speaks up, nobody speaks up. And when one of us speaks up and you see your buddy speaking up, it's that much easier to speak up. So go first.
What traditionally happens is the people who are terrified of marijuana write 5 emails, and the people who have done their homework and know what it's capable of doing and helping with and all the positive that can come from it are too busy working to send an email, and it's sad. Send more emails. Contact your legislators. I've got cottonmouth real bad, and my tongue's not cooperating.
That means I'm doing a good job.
You've succeeded, sir.
Success. Victory is mine. I'm trying to pull up the outro song, but I'm gonna just have to. I'm reaching.
Good night, everybody.
Buy Colorado Breeders Seeds. iGrow Genetics is pretty badass. There's a few others. You mentioned them earlier. Support Colorado. It's an awesome place to be.
There was a question on the cannabis that you mentioned earlier about where to get seeds, and I chuckled, and I went, I know that answer to that.
Yeah, we know the answer to that. Hey, anybody got any real shout-outs that you want to say specifically? Anybody? Yeah, okay. Well, then,
thanks for having me on again.
Check out. Thanks for coming. You guys are my...
For sure, I appreciate it.
It was a blast.
You guys are going to get to... We will have other people on. I've got a lot of other stuff planned out. I want to get comfortable and get good at that podcasting thing before I go and try to get people on that are going to feel like an asshole on my show. Yeah, and I want to thank you guys for enduring the first 3. We're at an hour and 17 minutes. It's ridiculous. So please check out...
I can keep going.
iRegeneticsColorado.com. No, you can't. Check out naturesgreenremedies.com. Follow me at iGrowCulture on Twitter. And go to at iRegenetics on Instagram for tons of excellent and boasting for a lot of cannabis photography that I feel is high quality.
Yep.
All right. Dude, keep listening. I promise to bring you great content. We'll improve every episode. So take a fat dab and give your mom a hug for me.
Technology. Nah, make them set we up. We have to get away. Hey, me ask who's calling me from an unknown number. We no answer no unknown number. Nah, pick it up if it's a private call. Youngster no answer no private call. Who's calling me from an unknown number? We no answer no unknown number. Nah, pick it up if it's a private call. Youngster no answer certain call. So could it be? How them a pre? No call me phone if you no want me for seen. Farmer work for your feet. Friends them not let me be. Them top the phone spy out like the KGB. Yo, so if you know your number block, no bother call me. Call me now go answer even if I'm me mommy. Yo, a regular them keep it up. Block them call but me no pick it up. Some little gyal a start me. Me ask who's calling me from an unknown number. We no answer no unknown number. Nah, pick it up if it's a private call. Youngster no answer no private call. Who's calling me from an unknown